defenses and our counterterrorism work, all they have to do is look across town at Kristi Noem's DHS and Kash Patel's FBI. How many key personnel has Trump already fired for no reason at our top cyber defense agency? How many FBI agents are focused on helping round up farm workers with no criminal history of the FBI's counterintelligence squad? And why on earth was a 22-year-old hired to lead counterterrorism at DHS? That should be a bigger concern to Republicans than a simple demand that ICE follow the same standard resort. I voted against the war in Iraq, and even the Bush administration was not as cavalier as Trump about the cost of war in lives or in taxpayer dollars. Trump's war will easily cost more than it would have cost to extend the ACA tax credits. This president and this Republican Congress have shown the American people there's always money for war, there's always money for billionaire tax breaks. It is just everyday Americans who are struggling with their health care or groceries who Republicans just can't spare a dime. Well, Democrats have a very different message. We are going to keep fighting to put working families ahead of starting costly, unnecessary wars.
Thank you, Senator Murray. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you all. So I represent a very pro-military state. I'm on the Armed Services Committee. One of my kids is in the military. And the question that this committee, one of my kids is in the military. And the question that Virginians and I think Americans are asking is, haven't we learned anything? Haven't we learned anything from 25 years in the wars, in the injured, hundreds of thousands of civilian deaths, $8.2 trillion that could have been spent here at home, spent in wars in the Middle East, and what did we get out of it? That's what my military state is asking me. They're asking me about their kids who were deployed on the Ford Carrier Strike Group overseas. They went to the Mideast. They then were told by the president to go to the Caribbean, now back to the Mideast. It's going to be the longest carrier deployment likely in recent history. These sailors who haven't seen their families on a ship that is not in great shape, that needs to get back in port. President Trump is breaking his promises. He campaigned as a end war president, as a peace president. Less than 6 weeks ago, the Pentagon put out a national defense strategy under the name of the secretary with the approval of Donald Trump. Here was the promise. No longer will the department be distracted by interventionism, endless wars, regime change, and nation building. What? Toppled one government to arrest their leader, assassinated the leader of another government. That's not intervention? That's not regime change. That's not nation building. They're breaking their promises, just like they're breaking their promises, as Senator Murray and Senator Schumer talked about, to bring costs down for everyday folks. And these are connected. When you use your money to wage war, you take money away from other priorities. When you wage a war that raises energy prices that are already too high, you're hitting people who are dealing with health care costs up, housing up, food up, groceries up, energy costs up. It's time for the president to keep promises, not break them. That's why I'm so glad that we're going to put everybody on the record tomorrow. Nobody gets to hide and give the president an easy pass or an end run around the Constitution. Everybody's got to declare whether they're for this war or against it. That will be the vote tomorrow. I appreciate leadership helping us get it scheduled at a time when everybody can vote and be held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
The Republicans say that Democrats need to fund DHS ASAP in light of all of this. What is an update on your conversations with the White House?
Well, first of all, it's very easy for them to get all of this funded. Simply to agree to our common sense proposals on ICE and Border Patrol. These are proposals. What we've asked for is what every police force does. In terms of our negotiations, look, we're still far apart, but we're still negotiating and exchanging paper back and forth. Yes.
In terms of what's happening with the War Powers Resolution, can you talk to the argument that it is a harder vote and even maybe more dangerous for troops to take that into account, that we have counterattacks on American troops?
Senator King. He's our war powers expert.
There are some members of the Democrats that are concerned about that as well.
Look, people ought to grapple hard with war questions. I mean, we shouldn't be it. We do it the right way. We put them at risk when we do it the wrong way. I mean, we came within a hairbreadth of 3 F-15 crews being killed by a friendly nation that shot our F-15s down. Why did they do that? Because there was no plan and no rationale. When you go into it without a rationale, and when the plan is half-baked, you end up with situations like that. We're acting because we love the troops. Our troops serve bravely, whether it's in Iraq or Afghanistan or Vietnam, they always serve bravely. The risk for them is bad civilian decision-making, and we're insisting upon good decision-making, so we minimize the risk to our troops.
Yes.
If you could speak to the intelligence briefing, if there was anything you could share with regard to the risk of retaliation on American soil, anything that Americans should be concerned about, how this could ripple here at home.
Look, I can't talk about a classified briefing. As you know, at 3:30, all the senators will be able to ask questions there. I can tell you, I left that briefing with more questions than I went in with. It was not a very satisfying briefing. Yes.
What's your reaction to what Secretary Rubio said yesterday, that the administration felt compelled to act because Israel was going to act with or without U.S. support in attacking Iran, and that casualties on U.S. bases in the region would have been higher if U.S.
As to what is going on, plain and simple. Yes, no, back there. Yes, you raise your hand. Yeah.
Do you expect a supplemental?
I can't hear you.
Do you expect a supplemental spending request from the Trump administration?
Well, you'll have to ask them. Thank you.
We were just hearing from Senate Democrats discussing the U.S. operation in Iran after they were briefed on the operation. All of Congress getting that briefing today as the tensions continue to intensify in the Middle East. A live look at Tel Aviv right now as the morning hours are upon the Middle East now, and we are staying on top of the situation as strikes continue. Thanks for watching live now from Fox. I'm Shauna Kalafi. I'll be here with you the next couple hours, taking over for Austin Westfall. We are going to be bringing you those updates from the situation in the Middle East as we get them here into our newsroom. Let's take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Shauna Kalafi. We have been tracking the poll numbers as they come in the Texas primaries. We want to bring you the latest numbers here in the Senate GOP race. John Cornyn with 43% of the vote, Ken Paxton 41%, as we have 60% of the votes counted. And that race is going to head to a runoff. This is from the Associated Press. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Senator John Cornyn advance to a May runoff in the GOP primary for U.S. Senate. That runoff set for May 26th. And both of them spoke just a few minutes ago. Let's start with Cornyn making some remarks.
Well, good evening, everyone. The statewide early results are in, and we did very well. Whose support and love I Senate. I want to thank everybody who voted for me, and the way I view it, it's an indication of their trust in the family. You ran a spirited race, and you have a bright future, and I wish you well. We now head into a 12-week primary runoff. Elections are about choices, and the choice in the Republican race for the U.S. Senate is crystal clear. I've worked for decades to build the Republican Party, both here in Texas and nationally. I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shamelessly too much at stake in this midterm election for our state and for our country. The final 2 years of President Trump's agenda hangs in the balance. I'm proud to have supported President Trump and worked with him to help him achieve his goals in the Congress. If he's nominated, there's a high risk that Paxton would lose this Senate seat, taking 5 congressional seats down with him. And you don't have to take my word for it. In public polling in the last few months, U.S. Senate nominees are either tied with or beating Paxton if he were the nominee. Ken Paxton as the nominee would be a dead weight at the top of the ticket for Republicans running all across this great state. Over the next 12 weeks, Texas Republican primary voters will hear more about my record of delivering conservative victories in the United States Senate and learn more about Ken's indefensible personal behavior and failures in office. Just like the primary, we have a plan to win the runoff, and we are in the Paxton. Thank you all. May God bless Texas, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Take a few questions. Jim, you want to start with AP?
Senator, typically a runoff can be a problem spot for an incumbent when you've got an upstart. Do you feel like, what do you feel like you need to do to motivate your voters versus Ken Paxton's voters now?
Well, fortunately, I've had the experience of winning a runoff previously when I was Attorney General. I won a contested runoff for the Republican nomination then. Obviously, we need to encourage as many people as possible who voted in the primary to come back on May the 26th. Fortunately, Texas has an early voting period, which will allow anybody and everybody who wants to vote an opportunity to cast their ballot early. If they don't do it, then they can do it on May the 26th. I think there'll probably be, at last count, maybe as many as 5 races on the ballot, which will make it much more likely we'll see a robust turnout of voters then. But as I said, and as I think we've demonstrated, there's simply just too much at stake for Texas voters to stay home. And I don't expect them to stay home. I expect a robust turnout. We'll certainly be encouraging that.
Teresa, WFA.
Senator Cornyn, how did we get here? How is it that in your run for a 5th term, you are facing your first runoff as a Senate candidate?
How did we get here?
Yeah, what is it about Ken Paxton that's driven you to this point?
Well, I like to think that, well, first of all, I got a great team. My family, I mentioned, without whose love and support I couldn't do this. But I simply could not in good conscience let someone like Ken Paxton waltz into the Senate as the Senate nominee for the Republican Party for the reasons I mentioned. I think he'll be an albatross around the neck of all of the Republican candidates, including the 5 new congressional seats that President Trump is depending on to win the majority in the House in the midterm elections, which is a challenge given the history. So we continue to do what we've done and talk about my record of support for the president and his policies and my record of legislative accomplishments. And I would say that, as I've said before, that character is on the ballot. Ken Paxton doesn't believe that that matters. He believes that all of his misbehavior and his scandals are sort of based.
You have it listen, you type it in, and then you go digging.
You literally just drag it in, and it'll be an audio clip.
This plugin is especially sick because, like, as soon as you put something in, it's a limitless amount of potential ideas.
Type in cello, hit find samples, and it will automatically find them synced to 184 BPM and D minor.
Yes, come on. And the fact that I don't have to go to another place and look for a sample, it helps my flow so much.
Whole producer plus arcade. Those two together is like a superhero team up. Generate sampler. So now the sample is chopped up and routed to different keys on a keyboard. Let's record that.
It'll take you from here to here. Yeah, to up there. Yep. Co-producer.
Ready to refresh your space for less? At Living Spaces, thoughtful design and direct sourcing keep prices low while quality stays high. Get this sofa for $295, this queen bed for $195, and this dining set for $295. Updating every room is within reach. Plus, enjoy fast, free shipping as soon as next day. So your new favorites arrive without the wait. Your next piece is waiting only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces.
Is speaking in Austin, Texas, as that GOP Senate primary heads to a runoff in May. We also heard from his opponent, Attorney General Ken Paxton, speaking at his watch party in Dallas just a few minutes ago. Let's listen.
Well, you know, John Cornyn said he was concerned about a bunch of radicals who were going to show up to vote today. It looks like you all showed up. I want to start by thanking my kids, my grandchildren for their constant love and support. I think I speak for every parent and grandparent in this room when I say this. Our children and their future are what we are fighting for every single day. For us, this is about saving America for the next generation. I want to take a moment to thank you all and every supporter across the state who has taken the time to volunteer, to vote, to get involved in this effort and help us get our message out all across Texas. And we are not going to let you buy the seat. No way. I want to tell you the last time I felt this kind of energy in one room, I was actually at Mar-a-Lago when President Trump announced he was running again in 2024. I don't know if you remember, but it was right after the midterms and everyone was turning on the president. The establishment, the media, and most Republican elected officials in America were lining up against him. Not me. I was proud to fly to Mar-a-Lago and be one of the only elected officials in America, along with my good friend, Congressman Troy Nehls, who stood with the president the night he announced his campaign. Troy and I, along with everyone else there, knew something special was happening that night. And we were right. Right now, I feel that same momentum, the same sense that history is turning. Now let's talk about what happened. at what just happened. John Cornyn spent around $100 million trying to buy this seat. We spent around $5 million. It was confirmed today that he received the most ad support for an incumbent in a single primary in U.S. history. But we proved something they'll never understand in Washington. Texas is not for sale. As votes continue to be counted, it looks like we're headed to a runoff, and that's because of you. The people of Texas made your voices heard. After all the personal attacks, which there were many, and after all the lies, you listened to what John Cornyn was selling, and you weren't buying it. Yeah. Nearly 60% of Texas voters who have known Cornyn. Yes. Tonight, change was on the ballot, and change won. Texans want new leadership. They want someone with a proven record of fighting and winning for them. And that's exactly what I'm going to deliver. Because for too long, John Cornyn has turned his back on us. For too long, he attacked the border wall by calling it naive and pushed amnesty while our country was being invaded. For too long, he stabbed our president in the back by trying to derail his presidential campaigns and supporting the Democrats' lawfare against the president. And for too long, he sold us out to Democrats, even siding with Joe Biden to push the worst gun control bill in decades. Those days are coming to an end. And now, as we head into this runoff, we're going to make the choice even clearer. While John Cornyn was cutting deals on gun control and amnesty, I was suing corrupt Joe Biden over 107 times. 107 times. And we didn't just file lawsuits, we won massive victories for our freedoms, for our border security, and for our Constitution. That's the contrast. When he compromised, we fought. It's not about personal attacks, it's about what your record of delivering for the people of Texas is. And on that front, John Cornyn has failed us time and time again. I've traveled the state asking one accomplishment that he's done to help the state of Texas. 40 years. And without fail, everywhere I go, no one has an answer. No one can name that accomplishment. The people of Texas deserve better. That's the message we're taking into the runoff. I think you all might remember the last time a U.S. Senate race went to a runoff in Texas. It was 2012. A political outsider, not well known at the time, by the name of Ted Cruz, took on the establishment giant. No one said he could do it. And after getting second place in the initial primary, patriotic Texans showed up in the runoff. And you know what happened? Ted, some smart people in the audience. Ted Cruz performed over 22 points better and won the runoff in a resounding victory. The same thing is going to happen here. I've been in 2 statewide runoffs as Attorney General, and I've never won by less than 30 points, and I don't plan on starting now. They've steal the election with another $100 million going into this Senate race. But here's what we proved tonight. While the money may be on his side, the people are on our side. And in Texas, the people always win. As we reflect on this election, I want to take a moment to thank Wesley Hunt for being in this race. Wesley served our country honorably, and let me say this to everyone who voted. Whether you voted for me, for Wesley, or even John, I'm going to fight to earn your support. Whether you were my strongest ally or you donated to fund the attacks against me, I want you to know that I'm going to fight every day to earn your support, because this is going to be the #1 Senate race in America targeted by the Democrats. We cannot let them take it. Our party is a big tent. We don't agree on everything, but we agree on the most important thing. We must defeat the Democrats in November. I want you on this team because this campaign is bigger than one person. It's about the future of Texas and the future of our great country, America. As Attorney General, I've won 3 elections, and I've won those general elections because I've focused on uniting our party. We still have an important runoff ahead, no doubt. But I think everyone in this room, everyone in Texas, and everyone in Washington knows where this is headed. I will be the Republican nominee, and we must stay focused. Because the Democrats have never been more radical, they've never been more unhinged. We've got James Tallarico, a far-left radical who wants to abolish ICE, says God is non-binary, I'm not even sure I know what that means, and thinks Christians are commanded to put boys in girls' sports.